The referee's hand slammed the mat. 1, 2, 3, and in that instant the unbreakable shattered. The Undertaker, the Phenom, lay defeated at WrestleMania 30. His legendary streak ended by Brock Lesnar's F5, leaving 75,000 fans in stunned silence. But was it a last-minute call, a concussion-fueled mishap, or a calculated move to forge a new era? The truth behind that night has haunted wrestling for over a decade, a mystery wrapped in shadows and speculation. The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak wasn't just a statistic, it was a myth, a legend etched into the fabric of professional wrestling. It began humbly at WrestleMania 7 in 1991 when a young Mark Calloway, clad in black and channeling the aura of a Western mortuary, pinned Jimmy Superfly Snuka in just over 4 minutes. No one could have predicted that this victory would spark a run of 21 consecutive triumphs, spanning over 2 decades and defining the dead man's career. Year after year, The Undertaker returned to WrestleMania, his entrance a spectacle of fog, lightning, and druid chants, facing off against giants like King Kong Bundy at WrestleMania 11, Diesel at 12, and Psycho Sid at 13. By the early 2000s, the streak had gained momentum with epic clashes against Ric Flair at WrestleMania X10, where blood flowed and egos clashed, and the Big Show and A-Train in a handicap match at 19. But it was the mid-2000s that elevated the streak to iconic status. At WrestleMania 25, he buried Randy Orton under a tombstone, extending to 13-0. Mark Henry felt the wrath in a casket match at 26, and Batista's World Heavyweight Championship reign ended at 27. The real turning point came at WrestleMania 28, when Edge pushed The Undertaker to his limits in a technical masterpiece, only to succumb to the Hell's Gate submission, making it 16-0. Fans began to whisper, "This streak is untouchable, a beacon of invincibility in a world of scripted chaos." Shawn Michaels tried twice, at 25 and 26, in matches hailed as masterpieces, blending athleticism and drama, but the Phenom prevailed, his last ride and tombstone sealing the deal. Triple H followed suit at 27 and 28, their no-holds-barred and Hell in a Cell Wars brutal symphonies of pain, yet the streak endured, reaching 20-0. By WrestleMania 29, facing PM Punk in a match laced with Paul Bearer's memory, the streak stood at 21-0. A monument to The Undertaker's endurance, his ability to reinvent himself from the zombie-like dead man to the American badass biker and back. Fans believed it would never end. It had become bigger than wrestling, a cultural phenomenon that drew viewers just to see if anyone could topple the giant. The streak wasn't just wins, it was the drama, the near falls, the moments where defeat seemed imminent, only for The Undertaker to sit up, eyes rolled back, defying logic and gravity. It symbolized immortality, a rare constant in an industry of twists and turns. Yet as WrestleMania 30 approached, whispers of vulnerability emerged. The Undertaker, now 49, showed signs of wear from years of chokeslams, dives over the top rope, and brutal bumps. The stage was set for the unthinkable, a shock that would ripple through the WWE universe like never before. Stories like this are why AlphaWar Room exists, to peel back the layers of wrestling's greatest mysteries and honor the legends who built the business. If you're drawn to the shadows of the squared circle, hit that subscribe button to join us in uncovering the truths that define combat sports. Brock Lesnar wasn't just an opponent, he was a force of nature, the beast incarnate, a man whose mere presence screamed destruction. Lesnar burst back into WWE in 2012 after conquering UFC, where he held the heavyweight title and faced warriors like Frank Mir and Randy Couture. His return match of Extreme Rules against John Cena was a bloodbath, showcasing his raw power and legitimate fighting credentials. By 2014, Lesnar had demolished Triple H at SummerSlam and WrestleMania 39, establishing himself as an unstoppable monster. When WWE announced him as The Undertaker's challenger for WrestleMania 30, the air thickened with tension. Lesnar's build-up was masterful. Paul Heyman, his advocate, hyped him as the one who could conquer the unconquerable, drawing parallels to Lesnar's UFC dominance. The storyline began on Raw, with Lesnar interrupting The Undertaker, leading to a brawl where Lesnar's F5 through a table sent shockwaves. Fans debated, could this hybrid athlete with his suplexes and Kimura locks be the one to end the streak? Lesnar's real-life aura, a former NCAA wrestling champion, NFL's hopeful, and MMA beast, made him credible. Subtle hints emerged. Vignettes showed Lesnar training like a predator, while The Undertaker's promos carried a somber tone as if sensing the end. Fan theories bubbled on forums. Some predicted a Lesnar win for shock value, but most dismissed it, clinging to the streak's sanctity. The Go Home Raw featured a casket segment where Lesnar stood tall, but doubt lingered. Lesnar wasn't a homegrown star like Orton or Edge. He was an outsider, a mercenary, making his threat feel real and immediate. As April 6, 2014 dawned in New Orleans, the Superdome buzzed with anticipation, unaware that history was about to fracture. The match unfolded like a nightmare, a slow-burning clash of titans under the bright lights of WrestleMania 30. The Undertaker's entrance was ethereal, lightning strikes, a sea of cell phone lights mimicking fireflies. As he glided to the ring, his 21-0 record projected on the screens. Lesnar, flanked by Heyman, stormed down with purpose, his muscular frame a stark contrast to the Phenom's gaunt, otherworldly figure. The bell rang and the crowd erupted, chanting Undertaker as the two circled. Early on, Lesnar charged, but the Undertaker countered with strikes, his experience shining through. Lesnar absorbed the punishment, then unleashed German suplexes, hurling the dead man like a rag doll. The pace was deliberate, each move heavy with implication. The Undertaker locked in Hell's Gate, but Lesnar powered out, transitioning to a Kimura that had the crowd gasping. Mid-match, tragedy struck. The Undertaker suffered a concussion, later revealed in interviews, blurring his memory of the bout. Still, he fought on, hitting old school, a chokeslam, and a tombstone that got a near fall. Lesnar kicked out, then delivered an F5, but the Phenom rose again. A second F5, another kick out, the tension building like a storm. Then the third F5. He hoisted him up, slammed him down, and covered. The referee, Charles Robinson, hesitated for a split second, then counted. 1, 2, 3. The arena fell silent, a collective gasp sucking the air from the Superdome. Heyman's eyes bulged in scripted shock, his mouth agape as he screamed in victory. The Undertaker lay there, broken, as the graphic flashed 21-1. Fans stood frozen, some in tears, others in disbelief, the roar replaced by murmurs. Slowly, the Phenom rose, his face a mask of pain, and walked up the ramp, the crowd finally erupting in applause, a standing ovation for a fallen legend. Backstage, reports later surfaced of concern for his health, but in that moment, the world had changed. The streak was over. Theories swirled immediately, a whirlwind of speculation trying to make sense of the senseless. One prevailing narrative centered on The Undertaker's health. At 49, with a history of injuries, including hip issues, and now a concussion during the match, some believed he couldn't continue the streak's demands. In his documentary The Last Ride, The Undertaker admitted the concussion erased his memory of the match, suggesting it impacted the performance and perhaps the outcome. Paul Heyman fueled conspiracy fires, hinting in interviews that Lesnar might have legitimately pinned a compromised Undertaker, though this was likely kayfabe. Another theory, the Phenom wanted to pass the torch, choosing Lesnar as a worthy conqueror to elevate a part-time star into immortality. Undertaker later said in podcasts that he was fine with the decision, believing it was time. But the most cited explanation points to Vince McMahon. Reports from Dave Meltzer and others indicate the original plan was for Undertaker to win, but hours before the match, Vince changed it, assuming this was Taker's final WrestleMania. He saw an opportunity to create shock value, generating massive media buzz. The ending made headlines worldwide, from ESPN to CNN. For Lesnar, it was a career-defining boost. Overnight, he became the man who ended the streak, leading to a squash of John Cena at SummerSlam and a dominant run. The ripple effects reshaped WWE. It opened doors for new storylines, like Undertaker's rematches with Lesnar at SummerSlam and Hell in a Cell 2015. Business-wise, it was a gamble that paid off, drawing eyes and dollars, proving WWE's willingness to sacrifice sacred cows for evolution. Critics debated if it was foolish, arguing the streak's mystique was irreplaceable, but supporters saw it as a bold narrative choice. Undertaker himself reflected in interviews that while shocked, he understood the vision, his legacy secure beyond numbers. In the end, ending the streak didn't diminish The Undertaker, it immortalized him further. Without it, he proved his character, his entrances, his matches stood alone as legendary. He returned at WrestleMania 31 to defeat Bray Wyatt, then faced Shane McMahon in Hell in a Cell at 32, where Roman Reigns ended his career in the ring, and others, each appearance a reminder of his enduring presence. The what-ifs linger. What if Bray Wyatt ended it, building a new phenom, or Roman Reigns earlier, tying into the bloodline? What if it never ended, retiring undefeated like at WrestleMania 37 appeared to be? These questions keep the moment alive, debated on podcasts, forums, and documentaries. The streak's end was a pivotal shock, a turning point that humanized a myth showing even immortals can fall. It underscored wrestling's power to surprise, to evoke emotion, to create legacies that transcend the ring. Over a decade later, that 3 count still echoes, a testament to the night the unbreakable broke and wrestling was forever changed.